Imagine facing a beast weighing over 6 tons with nothing but sharpened stone and raw courage. How did early humans do the impossible? This isn't just an animal, it's living muscle, bone, and momentum, built to survive the cold and crush anything in its path. A small hunting band waits in silence, knowing one wrong move means bones shattered beneath those tusks. Their leader signals stillness, no shouting, no chaos. Survival here depends on discipline, not strength. Then it charges, snow erupts, the ground trembles, and the distance between hunter and death collapses in seconds. These footprints tell the truth of the Ice Age. Every step closer is a question of who breaks first.
They don't run blindly. Every step backward is measured, because panic here is more lethal than tusks. One hunter slips, and for a heartbeat, the Ice Age threatens to claim him. Teamwork saves him, rawhide rope, strong arms, and trust forged by survival. The mammoth halts, reading their movement, sweeping the snow like a living avalanche. This is the power they face: muscle, momentum, and instincts sharpened by endless winters. In the distance, the herd moves as one, an unstoppable force if provoked. But hunters don't challenge the strongest. They search for weakness written in the snow. One trail drags behind, slower, older, injured. This is not chance, it's selection. The leader points ahead. The plan isn't to kill it here, it's to move it.
Before the chase begins, there is work, quiet, deliberate preparation beside frozen water, where mistakes mean starvation or death. Stone breaks under practiced hands, shaped carefully, not for beauty or pride, but for survival in a brutal world. These points are not symbols of power, they are answers, refined through failed hunts, broken bones, and remembered losses. Each blade is bound to wood with sinew and resin, becoming one piece of a system that only works together. Fire softens resin and seals the bond, because one loose point could mean a wounded mammoth and a dead hunter. The leader tests every edge, knowing sharpness doesn't guarantee victory, only a smaller margin of error. No one speaks. Every hunter understands exactly what these tools are meant to face. In firelight, stone gleams quietly, small weapons waiting for an enormous problem to move. Then the atlatl appears, simple carved wood carrying an idea more dangerous than strength. It locks into the spear, turning an arm into a lever, multiplying force without closing distance. Feet brace against ice, breath slows. Suddenly, death doesn't have to be within reach. The throw snaps forward, releasing stored energy in a single violent motion through the frozen air. The spear strikes deeper than any hand-thrown weapon could manage, changing the rules of the hunt. They exchange looks. Distance is no longer weakness, it is protection. But distance means nothing if the ground betrays you first. So they cut into frozen earth, shaping pits and paths, turning terrain into a silent ally. Branches, snow, and shadow disguise danger beneath surfaces that look safe even to a giant. Rope is pulled hard and tested again, because failure here means being dragged beneath tusks. Every knot matters, every fiber carries the weight of survival. Fire joins the plan, not for warmth, but as a weapon that speaks directly to instinct. Smoke transforms narrow stone into invisible walls, guiding movement without contact. The leader maps the hunt in snow, imagining every step before it happens. This is not strength versus strength, it is space, timing, fear, and control. The trap waits, silent, patient, indifferent to who enters it. On the horizon, dark shapes grow larger, closer, faster than expected. The hunters stop working, tools lower. Now they listen. The ground answers first, low vibrations rolling through ice and bone. The mammoths are coming, and suddenly preparation feels very small. Ice cracks softly beneath their feet, reminding them how thin survival truly is. Weapons rise, positions lock. The hunt is no longer an idea, it is here. They start to guide the weak mammoth away from the herd, moving as one, shaping its path without getting close. Fire and smoke should control fear, until the wind turns, twisting the plan in an instant. The leader reads it immediately and signals a pivot, because hesitation here becomes catastrophe. Smoke blows back onto the hunters, exposing silhouettes and scent where there should be nothing. The mammoth's eye sharpens, nostrils flare. It isn't stupid, it's listening, smelling, deciding. Then it breaks the funnel, surging sideways and refusing the route they prepared. Spear carriers sprint to form an arc, keeping tusks in front and teammates out of reach. An atlatl loads under shaking hands, leverage ready, but only if timing survives the chaos. The mammoth drives them toward rock, turning terrain into a trap for the hunters instead. One man is pinned near the cliff, nowhere to retreat, tusks sweeping like scythe through snow. It slams the stone face, ice cracks, debris falls, and the air fills with white dust and panic. The leader barks a short call. The team fans out fast, refusing to leave anyone alone. The formation opens an escape lane, teamwork turning seconds into survival. For a breath, the mammoth pauses, snow curling around its tusks, and everyone hears their own heartbeat. It charges the snow-covered patch, then stops, sniffs. Did it just detect the trap? The hunters sink low behind the ice ridges, barely breathing, watching the herd move like living hills across the storm-scoured plain. The leader draws lines in the snow, mapping wind, distance, and escape routes, planning movement before any body dares to move. The tracker kneels, reading the ground like memory, following pressure, depth, and direction frozen into the earth. One trail drags unevenly, slower, heavier. Age or injury has left its signature here. The herd advances as one mass of muscle and bone. Disturb them all and death comes from every direction. So they choose the straggler, not out of mercy, but survival logic older than language. Wind scours the empty plain, tearing sound apart, hiding intent, making every movement feel exposed. The group splits wide, shaping space instead of closing distance, letting the land do the work. Fire blooms on one flank, smoke lifting into the cold air, speaking fear in a language animals understand instantly. Movement on the opposite side completes the funnel, pressure applied without a single touch. The mammoth turns, suddenly boxed between stone and sucking ground, forced to choose the worst path. Mud grips its feet, stealing strength with every step, turning weight into resistance. An atlatl rises, not to kill, but to guide, to bend momentum without closing in. The spear flies, carrying leverage instead of muscle, cutting through snow and distance. It bites deep, painful, not fatal, exactly as planned, a message rather than a finish. The mammoth answers with fury, tusks swinging toward the fire, snow exploding beneath its charge. The torch handler retreats step by step, fire held steady between life and death. Smoke blurs the world, turning certainty into chaos, hiding hunters and hazards alike. The giant sinks deeper, fighting the earth itself as much as the people around it. The leader signals distance. Closing in now would be suicide, not bravery. A rope spins through the air, timed to a single heartbeat of opportunity. It catches the rear leg, stealing rhythm, balance, and confidence for one brief moment. The line snaps tight, screaming under impossible strain as rawhide meets raw power. The mammoth lurches, balance broken just long enough to matter. Spears advance 2 steps, then stop. Discipline overrides instinct. Mud bubbles beneath the weight, energy draining away with every movement. Suddenly, it surges, strength reclaiming ground, refusing to yield. The hunters brace together, bodies aligned, every muscle sharing the load. The rope begins to fray, seconds stretch, failure waits at the fibers. The leader signals release, survival matters more than stubborn pride. They fall back as the line slips free, escaping the pull of death by a breath. The mammoth stands heaving, steam pouring into the frozen air, wounded but unbroken. The hunters regroup, weapons raised, formation restored. This hunt is far from finished. And as the giant shifts again, one question hangs in the storm. If it charges now, who won't be fast enough?
They've landed good hits, but the mammoth still stands. Proof this hunt isn't a single heroic moment. Even wounded, 6 tons of muscle can keep moving, pushing through mud like it's trying to outrun pain. The leader signals retreat, and they step back together, because turning your back is how people die. The mammoth follows, testing the circle, searching for one crack to smash open with tusks and panic. An atlatl loads again, breath freezing in the air, aiming for control, not a cinematic kill shot. The lever snaps forward and the spear flies farther, faster, with force borrowed from physics. It sticks, and the mammoth pivots, exactly the reaction the hunters wanted, steering the giant like a living boulder. Fire rises on the flank, smoke turning open ground into a boundary the mammoth doesn't want to cross. It charges the flame anyway, and the torch handler backpedals. One stumble and tusks would end everything. Spear carriers sprint in a crescent, closing space behind the turn, always staying clear of that lethal front. The tracker points, firmer snow, a narrow pass. Terrain becomes the weapon when arms aren't enough. The mammoth slips on hidden ice, and for a heartbeat, raw strength looks clumsy against the ground. A young hunter panics and rushes in until the leader yanks him back, saving him from a crushing mistake. A short, harsh call cuts through the wind. Control your fear, or the mammoth will use it. Myth says one stab ends it. Fact, planning, and attrition. Retreat, return, throw, pressure, repeat. Hours of danger. Time stretches under a pale sun, the mammoth's shadow long on the ice, reminding them endurance is the battlefield. Myth says humans were stronger. Fact, teamwork, tools, and terrain, because exhaustion kills faster than pride. The mammoth slows, then tenses, gathering everything it has left for one final desperate charge. The most dangerous moment is the moment you think it's over, so can they dodge this last rush and survive? The mammoth finally collapses, not in triumph or spectacle, but with a heavy silence that settles into the frozen ground. There is no victory cry, only fading breath, and the understanding that survival has shifted, not been secured. The hunters stand still, weapons lowered, honoring the moment before urgency replaces emotion. Snow begins erasing tracks almost immediately, wiping away the violence as if it never happened. One short signal from the leader, and the hunt transforms into work, fast, focused, unforgiving. Stone blades followed joint lines with practiced precision, knowledge turning muscle into efficiency. Wooden levers replace brute force, saving strength when every calorie burned must be repaid. Thick fat is gathered carefully, fuel for fire, warmth, and nights that would otherwise kill. Meat is lifted and sorted, not wasted, becoming days, sometimes weeks of survival. Smoke begins its slow work, preserving what raw strength alone never could. In the storm, even fire struggles, flickering as wind tests every flame. The leader divides resources with calm authority because cooperation doesn't end with the kill. Hide becomes shelter, clothing and insulation, protection against an ice age that never forgives mistakes. Bones and tusks are set aside, already imagined as tools, frames, and weapons yet to come. Myth says the atlatl is just a stick. Fact, leverage kept hunters alive by keeping death at distance. Above them, unseen eyes circle, In this world, nothing valuable goes unnoticed for long. The pace quickens. Holding the kill matters as much as making it. Rawhide rope tightens around bundles, each knot securing tomorrow. Fat feeds flame, transforming the mammoth into light, heat, and time. Warmth flickers fragile and brief, surrounded by endless cold. The leader scans the horizon, listening. Danger never waits politely. Dark shapes move far away, drawn by scent, smoke, and opportunity. The hunters close ranks instinctively because the hunt does not end when the mammoth falls. Tools are cleaned and readied, knowing tomorrow will demand the same precision again. Smoke rises into the storm like a signal, life holding ground against a hostile world. The hunt ends only when what was earned can be kept, and tonight that answer remains uncertain. Night falls, and the campfire becomes the center of their world. Warmth bought with risk and paid for in exhaustion. In the ember glow, ash-smeared faces look older than they should, eyes still listening for danger beyond the light. The leader assigns watch with silent gestures, because order is how a small group survives big threats. Tools are checked and rebuilt immediately. In the Ice Age, a loose binding can be a death sentence. Mammoth fat feeds the flame, turning the hunt into heat, light, and one more night alive. Two hunters stand guard, spears ready, because the kill attracts attention in a world that never wastes meat. Smoke skims the snow, pulled by wind like a warning that nature still controls the rules. The leader sets a new stone point beside the tusk, less a trophy, more a promise to adapt again. The tracker sketches tomorrow's path in snow. Even after victory, the next problem is already approaching. They share food and portions with quiet ritual, cooperation surviving where strength alone never could. Dawn returns, cold and indifferent, revealing how small they are on this endless plain. Human tracks cross mammoth prints, then disappear under fresh snow. Evidence erased, lessons kept. So what truly shaped humanity? Our muscles or our ability to turn the world itself into a weapon?